or visit our website at amp2.tv. Let AMP Media Productions bring your media to life.
This program is furnished by amp2tv.square.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
It All Starts With You is a show where we're going on a journey of self-discovery and exploration. This platform is a place for women who are transitioning and transforming. Hi, I'm Eileen Lemmelman, licensed clinical social worker and psychotherapist. We are embarking on a trip together where I will be interviewing experts and extraordinary women such as you and me. Let's start the show. Hello, 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 my ladies, my dolls, my friends. I'm Eileen Lemmelman, your host for It All Starts With You. And today we're going to be talking about change. Change is inevitable. And one thing that we can count on in life, the constant in life, is change. But you know, I think that women have to change more than men, and we're asked to change more than men. And we, just basically because the way our bodies are, right? We're wired to do things that men can't do, and that requires us to change. I'm talking about having babies and those kinds of things that men are not asked to do in the way that we are. Harvard Business Review did a study that said that women in business don't advance as quickly as men. Why? Not because they can't, or they don't have the education, or the skill, or the knowledge. It's because women are asked to make accommodations more than men. Especially during the pandemic, they were asked to reduce their hours more so than men. So they couldn't, advance the same way as men. So we're asked to make changes when we have a baby. Very often, and not in every family, but very often, we're still responsible for the child's care, for making sure that everything is done with the child, and that takes away from working outside the home. So today I have two experts, and expert women, and we're going to be talking about the changes that life hands women and what we're expected to do through the ages, from being a young woman all the way to retirement. So let's start off by introducing my first guest, who is Jacqueline Beck of Jacqueline Beck Consulting. She is not a stranger to change and not a stranger to not only her own change, but helping women change. So welcome, Jacqueline. I'm so happy to have you. I had you on the show last week, actually, and I was so excited to have you back because we have so much more to talk about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited. So I mentioned that you are no stranger to change.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about how your life has changed so amazingly in the past couple of years and what that has really required of you to do, and not only in business, but in your personal life as well?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, as Eileen mentioned, I have a company called Jacqueline Beck Consulting. It's an executive leadership, career, business coaching firm that has a consulting aspect to it as well. But effectively, we work with really ambitious people who want to succeed and do it while staying true to themselves. And for women in particular, like you're saying, there are some few transition points at life where they have to really balance the personal with the professional. You mentioned the pandemic. It caused a lot of people to really stop and take stock of what their priorities are in life. As you mentioned, in my circumstance, my husband and I moved from New York City. We ended up having a baby. We decided to stay in Florida full time. We decided to do the whole house, 2 jobs, and launched my own business.
Oh my goodness.
So in terms of...
Aren't we amazing?
That's one way to look at it. One way to look at it. But in terms of change, you know, I obviously have gone through my own journey of substantial change and have learned a lot through that process. But
yeah, I mean, you started out working in corporate America,
yes,
working in the banking industry, and then, you know, moving down to Florida. I imagine that's when you had to transition and change and make decisions about, were you going to stay in corporate America, or are you going to, you know, maybe become an entrepreneur and do your own thing?
yeah, so they didn't line up exactly. When we moved down to Florida, I was with my former employer. Like Eileen mentioned, I was on Wall Street for about 14 years, joined a private equity company down here in South Florida, and then ultimately made the decision to go out on my own and launch my own business. And like any person at this point in their career, it was a matter of prioritization, right? I'm very fortunate to be in a very supportive relationship where we're very open and communicative with each other. And so it was a conversation between the two of us where we agreed, you know, what can we do as a household financially? What can we do as a household when it comes to time and managing the responsibilities of having a young child, having a house, you know, needing things to get done, right? And really getting clear on what those things are.
So you have to really communicate really effectively with your partner so that you each have your role and you each know exactly what you're doing as you make the change.
Yes, and what I would say is in my practice, a lot of women I speak to, they tend to be of a certain age, I call it in their 30s and 40s. Maybe they're embarking on getting married or thinking about having a first, a second, a third child. There's a lot of lamenting the fact that, you know, why do I need to decide whether it's the right time to leave my job now because I'm a woman, right?
Right.
There comes a point where it is what it is.
Right.
Right. And like
exactly
I said,
what I was saying.
Exactly. And like I said before, I find that it really comes down to 3 things. It's prioritization, outsourcing, and delegation.
Ooh, okay.
And it comes down to what that person really wants for themselves. And you know, I'm a big proponent of clarity. I have my 3-step process.
Yes.
Clarity, collaborate, and commit.
Commitment.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The clarity part, I find that a lot of people don't take the time to really take stock of what's important to them.
So when they come to you, when a
Yes.
woman in transition, a woman who's changing, comes to you and says, Jacqueline, I want to make these changes in my life. Can you help me? So how do you help them get clear about exactly what they want and exactly how to prioritize, delegate, and
Yeah.
all the things that you were just talking about?
Well, I focus on the business realm, right? So, you know, once you start unpacking situations, it's hard to ignore the personal realm because
Yes.
we are people and we show up as people at work as our whole selves,
Yes.
right? And so it usually is in the context of a broader goal that somebody would have in their career. Either they're looking to accelerate it, get a promotion, they're looking to enhance a certain skill, they're looking to get more out of their team, they're trying to balance their time and figure out how to use their time more effectively because they're overwhelmed and they're worried about burnout, and inevitably conversations about the personal comes out.
You know, the burnout is a big deal,
Yeah.
especially for women who are, you know, spreading themselves so thin and want to be everything to everyone, right? When you're at work, you're thinking about your child at home, in daycare, or at home with a nanny or whatever it is. You know, if you're at home with the kids, you're worried about work and looking at your, you know, emails. How do you advise women to avoid burnout?
Yeah, so again, it comes down to getting clear on what you value and what your goals are, both professionally and personally, then really thinking about that from the perspective of feasibility, right? Timelines. How quickly can I actually get to where I want to go? And, oftentimes we're more impatient than we like to think we are, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really being honest with ourselves and then going down those 3 steps of prioritizing, outsourcing, and delegating. So when it comes to prioritizing, what do I value? What are my goals? And how do I order what's most important?
Yes.
When it comes to outsourcing, maybe there are things that you don't need to take on that you're creating additional hard work for yourself. And then when it comes to delegating, oftentimes at work, people really want to control the output that they're responsible for because they see it as a reflection of themselves.
Yes.
When oftentimes delegating small tasks, getting team members involved, getting junior members of the team involved is actually a great way to propel your career forward because you can't move up the chain until there's someone to replace you.
Right, and I was wondering, let's say someone comes to you and says, I am, at this level and I really want to get into the management level, or I want to get into, a director level. How do you help them make that change? Because I have a feeling that that's a big change for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of what I love about what I do is it's completely customized and it's completely individual to the person who I'm working with. So again, I mentioned that 3-step process. In step 1, clarify, we effectively assess. We take account of where the person is today, where they want to get, and what are the gaps. So it's effectively a gap analysis. There are different tools I use, different processes I take them through, assessments to actually see what behaviors, get feedback, and really come up with plans in step 2, which is collaborate of how we can refine that and put it into practice, step 3, commit. And so it's a matter of, again, clarifying, figuring out plans and processes to get from A to B, and then doing it, refining it, honing it, and helping the person get to where they want to be.
I think that process, those 3 steps can be applied to so much of our life, not only in business.
Absolutely.
Right? We have to be clear about exactly what we want to do, how we want to do it, because change is inevitable. Change is going to happen.
Yeah, and if I could just jump in for a
Yes.
second, one of my favorite phrases is I call it career autopilot, right?
Yes.
And I find that often bleeds over to personal life. So people are just trying to get the thing done that they need to do. People are just trying to get their to-do list done. And when you actually take the time to stop and think and strategize, things become so much more manageable. And even just taking the time to do that can help to negate potential overwhelm or burnout.
So as we end this little segment with
Yes,
you,
of course.
I want to just go with one little bit of advice that you could give a woman who's maybe 30 or 40 thinking about making a change or thinking about having a baby. What would be that one nugget that you could give them?
Breathe.
Yes, breathe. I love that.
Don't expect that you're going to be perfect, because sometimes you will feel like a great mother and a terrible employee. Other times you will feel like a terrible employee and a great mother. And, I was sharing with Eileen last week, it's a pendulum swing.
Yes.
I do think you can have it all. It's just a matter of when you can have it all, and it's maybe not all at once sometimes.
Right. And having it all might have to be redefined.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it all goes back to clarity.
Yes. So we had the most amazing discussion with Jacqueline Beck of Jacqueline Beck Consulting, Business Executive Coach. And today's show is brought to you by Jacqueline Beck Consulting and Patty Shotwell, the insurance lady, who's going to be talking to us about the next phase of life, which is retirement. So stay tuned. Stay tuned after these commercials.
Jacqueline Beck is a certified executive coach with 14 years of experience working on Wall Street and commercial real estate. Her professional experience spans investment and fund management roles domestically and abroad. She is passionate about the power of self-awareness and communication to promote career satisfaction and success. Jacqueline Beck Consulting works with high-achieving executives, rising leaders, teams and businesses to lead with emotional intelligence and get the best out of themselves and their team. Reach your highest potential by clarifying goals, avoiding burnout, and improving communication. Call Jacqueline today, 301-461-3543, or visit her website at JacquelineBeckConsulting.com. Patty Shotwell, the insurance lady, is a retirement planner and an independent broker. Assisting people of all ages with health insurance and life insurance, Patty is a retirement specialist helping the senior population with Medicare, long-term care, legacy, family security, and nest egg protection. From health and medical, income and savings, final expenses and estate planning, extended care, and long-term care, Patty focuses on educating clients and on making sure that questions are answered and problems are solved. For more information, contact Patty at 954-540-7850.
Let's continue the journey. Now back to the show. Welcome back. I'm so glad you came back because now we're going to talk about the next phase, important phase that women need to be really, really mindful about, which is retirement. And today we have another expert, another amazing woman. Her name is Patty Shotwell. She's the insurance lady, and she's a retirement specialist. And today we're going to talk about the three-pronged approach towards what women have to do in order to prepare and be proactive as you go into the next season of life, which is retirement. So we're going to talk today about finances, about health, and about end of life. Okay, so what do we need to do?
Well, planning is important, is a very important part of this stage of your life. And you have to think about it and talk about it with your family. They have to know what your wishes are, and they have to know what your plans are. As far as your finances are concerned, that's something that you need to start working on in your early years. You can't just expect that, oh, when I retire, I'm going to have this lump sum of money available to me, because who knows what's going to happen in the future. But it's something you have to be proactive in determining what funds are going to be available to you when you do retire.
So what do you have to do in order to make sure that you have enough money to retire on as you age?
Well, part of it is saving is a very important part of it, and starting having a 401k or an IRA or something that you can save your money in, and put it there, and not expect to be using it. It's not a rainy day fund. This is something for your retirement. It's something that's going to be there when you need it in your later years when you're no longer working.
So in the ideal world, you would hope that a 30 or a 40-year-old would set up a 401k
Yes.
or set up some sort of pension fund.
Yes.
But let's say a woman comes to you, she's 55, she's 60 years old, she hasn't really done that, and she wants to know what she can do in order to start preparing for retirement.
Well, there are, hopefully, when my daughter grows up and she reaches retirement age, hopefully there'll still be some type of Social Security available to her. That's something that we have available to us right now.
Right.
Is that, we've worked all these years, and now there's the Social Security's pension or retirement benefits that are available to us. So that's something that a lot of women have, but it's not really something that you want to depend on.
Yeah, it's not enough.
It's not enough. It really is not enough. And even if you have a spouse that's working and is going to earn Social Security, that still is it's going to be a small portion of what you're living on while you're working. And don't just think that, now I'm not working, so I'm not going to have the same expenses. Life continues. maybe you've paid off your home, your mortgage is paid. That's something you got to think about. Try not to like refinance your mortgage. Saying, oh, I have all this equity in my home, I can refinance. What that's going to do is just extend out your payments over time, and when you reach the age where you're hoping that you're not going to have all these expenses, now you still have a mortgage payment which you should have paid off after 30 years, and now you're at 40 years or 45 years, you're still paying the mortgage because you've refinanced it a few times. So decisions that you make when you're young can impact you significantly when you're retiring.
Absolutely.
So you've got to be very cognizant of that and think about the future. It's not all about, the college education for the kids. You've got to also think about, how can I save money and put money away, even if it's a little bit at a time, even if it's just a few $1,000s a year that you're putting away. Over the course of time, it will all add up, and it becomes, it can really be a savings to you.
Yes.
None of us want to have to depend on our children when we retire to pay our bills, to pay our cell phone. I mean, I pay my daughter's cell phone bill right now. I know I could say, hey, I paid your cell phone bill. Now you
pay
can
back.
pay mine.
Pay back.
Payback's a bitch. But I'm like, I don't want that for her. I want to be able to take care of myself. So I'm like, I'm planning that. I mean, that's one reason why I became an insurance agent, because this is the clientele that I develop. It will continue to give me income in the future.
Yeah, all residual,
the residual income and everything. And I was like, oh my God, this is like perfect for me, because I don't want to have to depend on that. But it's something that I've thought about all my life. I put money into retirement, making sure that the house gets paid off and things like that. I want my expenses to be low and be able to use the money that I have to enjoy my retirement.
What would you do for somebody who wants to set up some sort of retirement kind of fund?
So, well, there are products that you can get. There's some life insurance products that can build cash value. There's annuity products that will protect your nest egg that you have saved, so that you don't have to worry about losing any of that. If the stock market goes down like it's doing, like it has been doing recently.
Yes.
So
and
those
we have
are things that we can do.
You have to really take all that into account.
Absolutely.
Well, we never got to Medicare, but that's a whole other, a whole other ball of wax. And next time you come on, because you will be on next month on my show, and we'll be talking more about Medicare and, of course, end of life, which we have to think about, because we don't want to put that burden on our children. We have to plan for what we want to do at the end of our life. So thank you so much, Patty.
Oh, you're
gave it.
welcome.
What would you tell younger Patty right now about saving?
Save more.
Okay, all right. That's it. That's the message. Save, 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 and save more. All right, you guys, it was so great. We had such a great discussion with Jacqueline in the early years of being, a mom and in the early parts of your career. And as we go through to the next season of our life, when we are in planning for retirement. So remember, change is inevitable. Change happens in our life, and so we have to plan for change. We have to breathe. That's what Jacqueline told us to do. Breathe, and we have to really adapt and be flexible when we change. Remember, prioritize, delegate. I can't remember the third thing, but those were good ideas. So I loved having Jacqueline and Patty on the show. I loved seeing you again, and I look forward to seeing you again, my friends, because it all starts with you. You have been watching It All Starts With You. New and exciting opportunities are ahead of you. You are creating your own destiny. Until we meet again, my friends, it all starts with you. You have been watching